Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California. And wow, it seems like I was just live. Oh, because I was like 5 minutes ago. We are back with another Nerdrotic premiere. And this is an actual premiere of a show, another one on AMC that was on following Better Call Saul, the great Better Call Saul. And this one is Lodge 49. And I am joined by two co-hosts, man. This is great. This is a treat. We got Dennis Bithoulkas down in San Diego and Susan Leighton in parts unknown. How are you guys doing?
Doing okay.
Great.
I mean, other than the weather, as we always talk about the weather.
Our pre-production show was it's freaking hot, and then I was saying, no, it's not. It's cold. Here in San Francisco, it's like 50 right now. So
I would just love to. Yeah,
not bad. It's not bad. So hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us. I know Doomcock is live, and if you choose us, I feel honored, and that's cool. So we're here. I don't know if any of you guys got a chance to see this show, but that's the cool thing about Nerdrotic's premieres. We can watch it so you don't have to if it sucks, and if it's good, we'll tell you. This show for me is a bit of a mixed bag. I would like to hear what you guys. What are your opening thoughts on it, Dennis?
Yeah, for me too. At first I was really down on it, and then I would say about 3/4 of the way through, it's like, okay, I can see kind of where this is going. Then by the end I was like, all right, I'll give this one a chance. I can watch a second episode.
Yeah. And Susan, what were your thoughts?
Actually, at first, I've been excited for this show for a while now, since I last reported on it in November, because Paul Giamatti, I love him. I love everything he's in. He's behind this show, along with Jim Gavin from The Middle. And I have to admit, at first it was a little slow, but I honestly love this show. It's quirky. It's original. It's exactly what I've been bitching about on social media, what we need more of. And I'll tell you, in all honesty, when Dud started talking at the lodge, when he was getting, I guess, inaugurated, for lack of a better term, and he started explaining things so you understood what the show was about, because I knew what it was about prior to this. I actually admit I teared up, and I think Wyatt Russell, he's going to be a name to remember. He reminds you so much of his old man, but yet he's his own deal. I kind of fell in love with him. I really liked it. So I think I'm going to be in this for the long haul. I've got the AMC premiere and the 10 episodes. So I think I'm going to enjoy this series.
Yeah, and I guess that's one thing we can mention. If you want to subscribe to yet another service, you can watch all of the shows, all of Lodge 49. It's all on AMC Premiere. So we watched the first episode, and yeah, Dennis, let's start breaking this down.
Before we start,
Spoiler
alert. Yeah. So if you haven't watched the show, or if you plan on watching the show at some point in time, we are going to spoil the crap out of it. So go ahead and come back, and this will be a video later on. You can watch this later on, and you can listen to all the spoilers. And again, thank you, Viking Bitch.
Thank you, Viking Bitch. Spoiler alert.
Exactly. So we start off with this guy just kind of walking, on the beach with a metal detector, and he ends up finding something, and it turns out to be a ring. It has a ring with what looks like a lion on it. And then we have this bald dude coming out of a house in his underwear, and there's all these crows all over his house. And he ends up shooting one of the birds. He's got an air rifle, and he shoots one of the birds off of his house there, and all the birds scatter. So this guy that we first saw on the beach, because we still don't know what his name is, we see him going into a pawn shop, because he's driving this beat up car, and he's going over to the pawn shop there, and we see that he's wearing the shirt of a closed down store that's in the same strip mall that the pawn shop is in. And this is where we meet the pawn shop owner, who goes by the name of Bert. And Bert seems kind of like a, usual scumbag kind of pawn shop owner that you've got.
I love his 2-star pawn.
Yes. Yeah. And so, of course, he's, this guy is trying to sell him the ring. And he says, "Oh, that's just a lodge ring. That's nothing. That's worth nothing at all. They give those out to anybody. So yeah, it's not worth anything." And he says, "Do you want to loan some money? Want me to loan you some money again?" He goes, "No, that's not a good idea." He goes, "Your interest rates are way too expensive. What was it? Something like a 78% interest rate? It was
89.
something 89% interest rate. Yeah, which is ridiculous." And so he ends up telling him, that Bert, he's a horrible human being. He's a piece of shit. His dad thought he was a piece of shit. And he walks out and he comes back in with the metal detector. Says, "What can I get for this?" And
and this is a sad, sordid tale. This is not a happy show. Okay, it's quirky. It's got funny moments in it, but there's really an underlying depression in it. It's
it's
like that kind of thing.
Sad sack kind of thing is what it is. It's very sad sack is what it is. So we end up seeing the guy who was shooting at the birds at the beginning there. We see him going into a smoke shop, and we found out his name is Ernie, and he's talking to this guy who owns the smoke shop named Blaze, and Blaze ends up giving him this hemp remedy for his pet that he's got. We don't know what kind of pet it is. We just know it's a pet. And Ernie ends up selling plumbing supplies is what he does for super parts. And he keeps talking about the captain. We don't know who the captain is, but I guess it's going to figure in later on. And how, no one's ever met the captain.
Yeah. Wonder who the captain is.
I think
I
know who the captain is.
He might have a big chin from what I understand.
Yeah.
So
he likes chainsaws.
He does like chainsaws.
Yes.
Possibly.
Yeah, he thinks they're groovy.
Mm-hmm. Laying it on a bit thick now. You guys figuring that
out?
Yeah. So we end up seeing the guy that we saw on the beach in the beginning. He goes to a donut shop, gets some donuts, and we hear that his sister has left a message for him in a call. And we find out the girl behind the donut shop, her name is Alice. We just know that her and this guy we still don't know what his name is. We still haven't gotten his name at this point.
Nope. They used to surf, and he doesn't come out anymore. And she called him a pussy for not coming out anymore.
And so he ends up parked outside of a house. We see him just kind of sitting out there eating donuts and spying on this house. And the guy in the house comes out and starts yelling at him and says, "Hey, you! I see you! Get away from here!" He starts up the really bad car and drives away. And by the way, when he's sitting out there, some guy is passing out these flyers on cars. They'll pay money for junk cars, and he gives it to him. He just basically kind of tosses it in his window, and he seems upset. This becomes a theme as well. So there's little themes throughout this entire episode.
And that bad car is a VW thing.
Yeah,
I love those.
The beautiful car.
Yeah. Although his condition, it's pretty bad.
I have not seen, I'm sure they exist, but I have not seen a thing in good condition. I always see them in that condition. There's actually one right up the street from my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, love the car.
Guy won't sell it. Guy will not sell it.
Damn it.
Tried.
And Mary Ashmead, I don't think the captain was his dad, because we see his dad later on in the episode here.
Yeah, we see his dad.
So we see this guy. He sneaks into an empty apartment, climbs through the window, has a shower, ends up drinking Jack Daniels in a big mug.
In like a big gold glass. Yeah. And can I just interject right here? Is like, I have totally done this, by the way. So I got kicked out of my apartment, and I just decided to stay living there. and I got away with it for a long time. A long time ago, folks. Long time ago. That brought back some memories, though. Yep. I mean, I wasn't reading Dune. I was probably reading Arthur C. Clarke. But yes, I was in
climbing
through the window, getting wasted and reading books. Yep. Great life.
And so as he's laying there in his underwear, he hears the door creak open. He's like, "Hello, hello." And we see this giant snake come slithering in really fast, and it comes for him, and he wakes up. And just as he wakes up, he hears the keys in the door. He grabs all this crap and bolts into the closet. And of course, the apartment's being shown. He's left his bottle of Jack outside. And the guy showing the apartment, of course, knows he's there. And we finally find out his name's Sean. And he says, Sean, are you in here? Sean. And Sean comes out and he's like, yeah, here, I used to live here. And he goes, yeah, but he doesn't anymore. And, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the cops. And then he recognizes the woman who's actually looking at the place with her fiance. And it's someone he went to high school with named Beth. And they start talking about, how you doing, all this kind of stuff. And it's really kind of weird. It's a very weird conversation.
She went to the senior prom with him.
Yeah.
And she's with her, looks like boyfriend or something like that.
Fiance.
And the stoner, the loser at this time, we don't know his name yet, goes, yeah. Well, no, it never went that far though. And she's all, what are you talking about? I blew him.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he kind of makes plans with them to meet him at the donut shop later on that night to, catch up, which, the fiance does not want to do this. And Beth was like, okay. It was kind of a weird thing. And then we see Ernie out on the golf course playing golf with this older guy. And they're hitting balls at people. They're hitting them with balls. And
this is how I play golf.
Yeah.
Very familiar.
Wow.
And the old guy's kind of being an ass with Ernie, and we see him later on pass out on the golf course, and he gets carried away by the ambulance. And of course, just as he's getting carried away, he tells Ernie that some kid is coming and to show him inside, and he's got to clean the carpets, show him what to do. We don't know what this is. We're just along for the ride for a good majority of this. So Sean ends up in the donut shop waiting for Beth to show up. And of course, Alice is asking him, you waiting for somebody? He goes, yeah, I'm waiting for somebody. And of course, he's drinking Jack Daniels. He's pouring it for himself and drinking it and eating donuts. Because that's what you do when you're waiting for somebody.
Yeah,
right?
Good combo.
Yeah. And we find out they're in Long Beach, by the way, too. So this is where this all takes place, in Long Beach.
Yeah, you can see all the oil, the rigs, and the refinery in the background. So that's Long Beach, folks.
Yeah,
that's how you know. It's the ugliest beach in LA.
Yes,
easily.
Yeah. So we see Ernie on the phone with some woman, and he's in his place, and he's talking about the cat. So we finally see he has a cat that he was rubbing hemp oil on, and he goes, no, she's not on the bed at all. I take Papa Claritin, come on over. It's our anniversary. He goes, yeah, I keep track of that kind of thing. And of course, she doesn't want him to come over. She doesn't want to come over. She wants to meet at a motel. And that's what he does. He goes over and meets this woman at a motel. And he starts talking about, he's now 59. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He's tired of living paycheck to paycheck. Again, we get this whole sad sack routine again that's going on. And she even says, man up, what you're doing isn't sexy. And then she starts laughing because of the way she barked at him. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Plus, that guy's thing, he was 59. I'm like, what? That guy's only 10 years older than me. Please, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was on the bad side of 59. That's what he was. Yeah. And so she ends up leaving because she's like, oh shit, I gotta go. And
yeah, she's got to go back to her husband.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then the more bad news comes is we get a knock at the door. And he gets his TV repossessed because he owes
Ernie or whoever whatever the kid was holding the gold the sign out in front of the pawn shop. Yeah, he comes and repos the TV and says he's got you still owe $2,000. Yeah. So we find out he's got a little bit of probably a gambling debt, I'm assuming. So
yeah, we find out later on it's gambling, but yeah, he owes a little bit of money, and it's to the same. He owns it to Bert as well. So we find out that Bert is all over the place, all over town on this. And we end up seeing Sean getting drunk at the donut shop, of course. And he leaves because no one shows up to meet him. And he goes back to that house that we saw him sitting outside. He just walks into the backyard, and there's a pool back there. And he starts taking off his shirt. And we find out the house used to be his childhood home, and it was repossessed. And the family that lives there now actually bought it from the from the foreclosure. And he's kind of pissed off about that, and he jumps into the pool. And we see a little flashback of his dad running out and him as a kid and them playing in the pool and all this stuff. And as he comes back up, he gets whomped in the head.
Yep. And then kicked in the face. He gets the pool net
over the head. Yeah.
And then, kicked in the face by the guy's wife. And he's still dealing with, we find out here that was the house he grew up in. It got foreclosed on. He's got nowhere to go. Obviously dad is gone. There's a sister out there. We're not sure we just know that this guy's had a really bad, month or so or year. Who knows?
And then he's at the beach. He's sitting in his car reading Dune. We saw him reading Dune. And he's not reading Dune, actually. He's reading a clip that he's taken out of the paper about a man who went out to sea and presumably drowned because they never found the body. We know this is his father at this point. And he starts seeing crows or hearing crows flying overhead, which is kind of weird because we were told before by Blaze, he was talking to Ernie and saying that crows are a sign, a portent of change.
A portent of change and doom. He's all, thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks for that. Exactly. And so, of course, we see this flying over Sean, and Sean gets in the car and starts it up and starts driving away. And, of course, his car starts breaking down, running out of gas. And he's like, oh, no. So he's pulling off to the side. And what does he pull up in front of? He pulls up right in front of Lodge 49.
Yep. And early on when he went into the pawn shop, we see he's wearing a shirt that says Dudley's Pool Supply. And they panned over in the same shopping center, and there was a Dudley's Pool Supply for lease and stuff.
I mentioned.
Okay, that's what we got. That's part of what his name is too. So I kind of sussed out his name at the beginning there, but they didn't say it until like halfway through the show. First, who was it called? Somebody called him Sean, right? And then he refers to himself later.
Yeah, in the apartment he was called Sean. And so we end up seeing him, of course, knock on the door, and he's just like pounding on the door. Open up. Is anyone there? And finally, Ernie opens up the door, and he tells him, hey, I found this ring on the beach. And Ernie's like, okay, great. Thanks. I'll see who lost it. And he's about to shut the door because at first he thought he was the guy to clean the carpets, and he wasn't. And then Sean asks, he goes, hey, what's inside? And he goes, well, if you want to come in, I could show you. So he comes in, he starts taking a look around, and he sees this room called the throne room. And he says, I had a dream about this place before. He goes, I've never been here, but, I've had a dream about this place. He goes, you're probably here for a wedding. We rent out that room all the time. And, of course, we never see what's in that room. Because the door is locked. So we never get a chance to see what's in the throne room at this point. I think it's a bunch of bathrooms myself, but...
well, you never know. That's hey, one man's throne is another man's throne. I don't know.
Yeah. And so, he asks Ernie, he goes, well, what's it take to join? He goes, all you have to do is ask. We don't turn down anybody. He goes, okay, I want to join. And so they go in the back and they're filling out paperwork and all this kind of stuff. And he's dodging a lot of Ernie's questions. And so he asks, so how much is it to join? And Ernie says $2,000.
Yeah.
Great number.
Yeah. So, of course, Ernie's going to take advantage of him, not realizing that he's trying to take advantage of someone who doesn't have any money at this point. And to come back on Saturday night and hang out and join, meet everybody, that kind of thing. And so Ernie tries to, of course, to get an advance on his commission from his boss, who we find out is Brian Doyle Murray.
Yeah, he got old.
He is old.
He actually lost some weight, though. He
lost weight?
Yeah, he was actually up a bit bigger. He was on another comedy show.
Yeah.
And he was bigger.
The bar show. I forget the name of it.
Yeah. And
he's lived a good old life. Yeah, he's 72.
Yeah.
God, he's 72.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I was just watching Caddyshack the other day. Pick that up. Sorry, it just always flashes back to that.
Caddyshack.
So we see Sean, he's back in the donut shop, of course. And Lizzie, or his sister Liz, comes in. He calls her Lizzie. And she's pissed off at him. And she says, hey, the sheriff came by to deliver papers to you. She goes, I was freaked out because I thought they were going to tell me that you were dead, that you committed suicide or something like that, or that you drowned. And he's like, don't worry.
What was his sister's name again?
Liz.
Okay, so I'm going to try to give you guys an example. It's not going to be that great, but if you watch the show, and I don't want to give freaking Disney any ideas.
Oh God.
God damn, she looks like fucking Carrie Fisher. And when she's turning around and stuff, she looks like a young Carrie Fisher. She could totally play. She doesn't have the voice at all, but man, does she have the look. She is like, these pictures aren't going to do it justice, but if you watch the show, she totally has like her movements.
Sonia is from, she's from England. So I imagine if anybody wanted a Carrie, I'm pretty sure she could probably accommodate.
She's way too tall, though.
Oh, that doesn't. Nobody can tell.
Yeah,
no, that's ridiculous. Tom Cruise looks 6'2" in all of his movies too, and we have both seen him in real life.
Yeah. Well, I know he's very tiny.
No, I couldn't believe. At first, I was like, "Whoa, man!" She has like the similar hairline. I mean, it's not exact, but wow, I was like, "Holy shit, that's crazy." And she was good too. I like how she works in like a Hooters.
Shamrocks. Yeah.
Shamrocks. Yeah.
Yeah. And we find out that, of course, Sean owes her $3,000. And she's also in debt because her dad left a lot of debt. And so she's having to pay that back.
He owes her boobs $3,000.
Yes, he does owe her boobs $3,000 because that's, her boobs made that money.
Yes. That's what Sean says, and she has a very good retort. I thought that was very good.
Yeah. So we see Ernie pining over, they're at the lodge having drinks and all this kind of stuff because it is he had told Sean that they were having something that night, but it was just the lodge members only. And so we see Ernie pining over the woman that he was at the motel with because she's with her husband. And the guy from the golf course who he thought was dead comes in and tells him to cheer up, and he goes, I was thinking about something when I was in the hospital. He goes, it would have sucked if I checked out without making you leader. He goes, I think it's about time that we made you leader. He goes, it's going to take a couple weeks. You're going to have to go over a lot of things.
And Ernie asked, did you check with London? He's all, yeah, sure, I checked with London. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And we have Lizzie coming home. Lizzie, by the way, let Sean come over and sleep on the couch too, because he told her, I don't have any place to stay. And so that's what's going on is he's got a place to stay now, and he's staying there. And she comes home. He's making his famous 7-layer dip, only it's 3 layers. With the avocados that she had.
Avocados.
Yeah. And of course, they're just sitting around watching TV, and I love how she burns the bill.
Oh, yeah, that was classic.
She walks in, she throws a bill in the sink, goes to the freezer, grabs some vodka, pours some vodka in the sink. She goes, my day was great. She's talking to her brother about how her day was great. Then she lights a match and throws it in the sink, lets it burn, and walks away. And he goes, I got some limes for your vodka tonic. Great.
She's like, I think I'm paraphrasing here, but she's like, I think I'm really making the world a better place.
Yeah, exactly. And so they end up talking about the lodge, and she says, do you really think this place is, going to be good for you? He goes, yeah. He goes, I really think it is. So it's a very weird thing. Everyone's kind of converging on the lodge at this point.
Yeah, and they're trying to make it look like Fate. Okay, so this is where they kind of oversold this a little bit in some of the trailers, where they're making it look a little supernatural, and it might be going there. But the Fate is more mundane, which might be better. I don't know, but the whole crows flying over both of them, and him finding the ring. It reads kind of like a really SoCal loser fantasy tale, a little bit. Yeah,
And so Sean goes back to Bert to go and borrow some more money from the pawn shop. Thank you, Movie Fanobi, for the $1.99. Nerds After Dark woke from nice dream saying hi. Hi.
Hello. Sorry we interrupted your nice dream.
Oh, man. So, yeah, he goes back to Bert to the pawn shop to borrow some more money. He's actually going to borrow that $2,000. And Bert's, he tells Bert, he goes, don't you feel, kind of even apprehensive about loaning this kind of money to a guy like me? He goes, no. He goes, I know your sister will pay for it. If you default on it. And Sean thinks about it for a second. He walks, he basically berates Bert again, walks out, and of course walks right back in, signs it, grabs the money, and leaves. And then we see him over at his sister's house, and he goes into her sock drawer and pulls out a little bit more money out of her stash that she's got there.
I thought he put some back. I thought he pulled some out of his envelope and put it in her envelope and put it back, but I could have read that wrong.
Yeah, I just saw him pull out an envelope out of her.
He pulled one out of his pocket and it had an envelope out of her sock drawer, and I thought he put like a C note in there, but I don't know. What'd you see, Susan?
That I think I saw the same thing.
Yeah, I thought he put like a little bit of money in. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I was.
Well, I would have gone with the character,
Yeah.
But I think they were just trying to show that like he does love his sister, which is it's cute.
And of course, he ends up going to the Lynx Club, and he meets Blaze. Blaze is bartending, and Blaze gives him a complimentary beverage.
Yes, they drink
domestic beer, and they drink and they talk, and he learns what's going to be expected of him if he joins the lodge.
Yeah, they fuck with him a little bit. Some yada yada going on there. I mean, not a lot, but I mean, this episode really just is all about the last real like 2 minutes or a few minutes when he when they decide to talk to him and ask him like, ask him about his life.
Yeah, who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Yeah. And he goes in and starts talking about how his life story and how he took a surfing trip down to Nicaragua last year and got bit in the foot by a snake and never fully healed. So he can't really go surfing anymore. It's kind of messed up his life a bit. And about a month after that, his dad went out surfing and disappeared, and they're presumed dead. And they found out that he left a shitload of debt, and he doesn't have a job, doesn't have a house, doesn't have anywhere to live. But then he found this ring, and how the ring led him to the lodge, and how his car broke down in front of the lodge, and he thought it was fate. Kind of thing.
And the way he's telling the story is really sad. It's really moving, because he starts out, he's very nervous, and as he's telling the story, everybody's slowly surrounding him, and this sounds like this is the first time he has actually put the events of the last year to himself, speaking them out loud, which is really important and powerful. If you've ever been to counseling, okay? And so that was very cathartic for him. And all these people thought he was a loser, and they were probably getting ready to kick him out. And they heard that, and how could you not feel after that point? That's what even Ernie says. Ernie puts a glass up to him and just like, man, I felt it. Now maybe Ernie wants $2,000, but I don't think he really thought he was going to get it. And it was a very moving scene. I will give you that. I mean, at the end, that was really moving. That was the best scene in the show.
And the thing is, Ernie says everyone at one point or time has had that same feeling, and he says it's nice to be reminded of that.
Yep.
And
that's why we go to meetings, folks.
I don't, but you do, which is good.
Yes.
And we end up seeing Larry scream out, punch Sean in the face, then grabs his chest and goes down again. And he gets hauled off by the ambulance. And Ernie's asking him, he goes, "Why'd you punch him?" He goes, "What do you mean? Who'd I punch?"
Exactly. We're all frauds here, or this is a fraud.
Yeah, this is all a fraud. He says, "It isn't the true lodge," is what he says. And he gets taken away by the ambulance. So it's just Sean and Ernie. And Sean says, he goes, "Don't worry about it." He goes, "It's not a big deal that he punched me. It's happened before," kind of thing. And he goes, "Oh, by the way, here's the $2,000. And Sean's, Ernie's like, no, don't worry about that." He goes, "No, really, I want to join." And Ernie ends up taking the money.
And that's it.
And that's
it. The first episode. Yeah. So to describe what this show is tough. And honestly, I think they've had a tough time selling it. It wasn't until the trailers I watched today. Now, I don't watch a lot of commercial TV, so I might have missed a lot of these trailers. But the one today that where it was a self-described Big Lebowski TV series, And I heard Susan mention that possible Northern Exposure. Now you hook me with Northern Exposure. That was one of my favorite shows of all time. Not a fan of Big Lebowski. I'm not. I know I'm one of the few, but I'm not.
Wow.
Well, that's why my wife and I get along so well. She doesn't like it either. But and neither does Cassidy from Preacher. But it's, for me, it was pretty slow. Who was it? That's Kurt Russell's kid, Wyatt Russell.
Yes.
He did a good job. The performances were really good. They were really, really good. I think for a show like this, man, I'm going to go and get my own philosophy here. And I think I think this is why they dropped it all on AMC Premiere. To stay into it, I would have to binge it. I don't know, like week to week. I don't know if this show is going to work week to week.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work week to week either. I agree with you on that. I think it really needs to be, you kind of go, okay, the end of the first show hooks me a bit, because now I'm like, okay, now I like the characters, because at first I didn't like the characters. I didn't know where it's going with this. And, I'm really just kind of going, who am I supposed to be rooting for here? Because so far you've not shown me anyone to root for. And then you tell me everything at the end, and I'm like, well, kind of, if you led with that, maybe it would have been good, or at least kind of parceled that out through the first half of the episode, of the first episode.
I think what they were trying to do, and I understand because it was a little slow, but they wanted to show you what these people were about, what the mundane was. Because from what I gather from the research I've done on this show, is that it's all about what lies beneath. It's almost like a more benevolent David Lynch, like digging into what's below the surface of everyday life. And once they get into the mysteries of the lodge, and this is a show, unfortunately, that it got very little press, very little mention until now, because everybody's covering it because they have to. And I think that's where the fault lies, is in the marketing. And it's not the type of show that's going to get the demographics that they want. But that's probably why they put it on at 10 o'clock. And that's probably why they're binging it, exactly like what you said. But it's a shame, because we need more things like this. I can only watch so many zombies. I can only watch so many people that are feelings in hallways. I love that saying now, Gary. Thank you. And torches on starships. I can only watch so many of them, but I kind of like this, not because Bruce is in it, but I like it because it's a story. You open the book and you're starting to read. That's how I felt, like this was a book. And I think this is getting to what I've been harping about. We need to get back to telling stories. And I know. And I hope people stick with it and give it a chance.
I agree, but like I said, that they packed all the story in the last 5 minutes. And if they had unpacked that a little bit more at the beginning and hooked you in, because quite honestly, in the first 15 minutes, I was like, I really don't like anybody in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually almost about to text Gary and go, yeah, I don't know about this one. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it, I hate to say this, but it's a judging interest. I've said this before. We're pretty much the same here with our reviews. I mean, some are a little better than the others, but we're pretty consistent in how we do things. So, but if you can actually see interest in a show by how many clicks we get, especially on our premiere episode reviews. And that's just curiosity. It's not whether people stay on and watch us or anything like that. Not trying to sound all full of myself, but Westworld, the end of Westworld season 2, we got 12,000 views. And that's really good for our small channel, with a very limited reach. And that, because people were interested, same with Mr. Robot. But then we have like Bobcat Goldthwait's show get almost 2,000 views on the first episode. We didn't even know like what network it was on. Yeah. So it's it's weird how that had that. Some people, there could be people out there loving the show. I mean, this might be a show kind of God, I've said this for Better Call Saul too. This might be kind of a normie show. Like some normies might like this. That's who kind of, makes the world go around. So that it might be popular in that aspect. I don't know what critics are saying. I know Susan likes it. I didn't read any of the reviews. I try not to do that before I watch anything. And yeah, for me, you're right, Dennis, if he would have told his life story at the 15-minute mark, I'd have been hooked quicker, because I was kind of like, ooh, and I hate to compare it, but it's right after Better Call Saul, which is a character study, like a literal character study, and that is good. So it's tough to follow that.
Yeah, and and the other thing was, it's a lot like The Big Lebowski too, like you were talking about. Only, I'm talking about the character of Sean.
Yep.
Sean is kind of modeled after The Big Lebowski, but not as cool, of course. And I realize they're trying to make him more grounded, because The Big Lebowski's character is supposed to be this kind of otherworldly figure, if you will. And it's Coen Brothers, and that's what they do. I mean, they do kind of otherworldly figures at times, which is kind of funny. And he just was really kind of, despicable as far as I was concerned in the first 15, 20 minutes.
And he was, the one thing they got right is just what Susan was talking about, what lies beneath. And that's an interesting tale to tell in SoCal. This is uniquely a SoCal story, because everything looks so pretty down there, and a lot of stuff looks super new. So, to see somebody kind of wandering through the cracks of life, and you see this a lot with okay, so surfing in SoCal, if you're a surfer, if you're in that scene, it's everything. It's part of your life. So if you can't surf anymore, you're broken. Especially if you're a surfer, that's what you did your entire life. You went out and surfed. It's a lifestyle. So that being taken away, and then the dad being taken away, I think that's an interesting thing. But Dennis is right. It's like he just meandered the first 15 minutes, and I was just like, come on.
It was both of them. I mean, it was both him and Ernie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just, it was kind of like I said, there was no redeemable characters here, and there was no hook.
I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but the actor who played Ernie had more charm. Yeah, he was good. I mean, he's good.
Yeah. Thank you, Feisty Fan, for the $4.99. Says no one is as cool as the dude. Not a fan of Lebowski, but love Jeff Bridges.
I love Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, I love him too.
I adore him. Fisher King should have won an Academy Award.
What does it for me with Dud is I can identify with Dud. Not that I was a surfer, but I can understand when you try so hard not to do what you're supposed to do in life, or you've been dealt a blow where you can't do what you should be doing in life, and it's rough. And I guess that's why I like this show, and why I kind of like Dud. I mean, I'm not a surfer girl or anything, but I can identify with that. And I think anybody that's ever had the experience where they can't do what they want to do, or their circumstances don't allow them, I guess to a certain extent it is kind of sad. And the one thing that I was good with coming into the show is I understood who the characters were and where it was going. So, if you're just coming into it, I can see where it would be a little frustrating, and where the payoff comes at the end, which, Dennis has said repeatedly, they should have led off with that story. But that being said, I think Dud's story will appeal to people that may have been in that circumstance, because not everybody's a winner. And I think that's what I like about the show. All these people do not have golden tickets, and that's refreshing.
No, and it's funny. I just brought up the Fisher King, and it's a similar story arc. I mean, not there's the tragedy, the tragedy of Robin Williams' character and Jeff Bridges' character comes in, for completely selfish reasons and tries to help this person. And it's like two like really broken people helping each other. Get out. Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories. It's a form of a redemption tale. It's a healing tale, we'll say, and we all love those. Yes, and I'm sure there's every one of us has gone through something like that in our lives, and it's nice that I like that how the group came around him, and this very flawed group around him are like, at least at the moment, we're willing to help him and lift a glass to him. I like that. So I mean, if it continues with that, then I'll be interested, and to see his journey.
Yeah. I just think my fear is that nobody's going to stick with this, because it is a show that requires, people to kind of stay with it because the payoff is there. And that's worrisome to me that, because it really hasn't had a lot of press. And as we all know, marketing is everything. And I don't know why they don't start with these type of shows, hammering you before the show starts. They used to do that.
They used to do that.
Yeah.
It's a different time. I mean, like Northern Exposure would have never worked now.
No.
And Northern Exposure came out at a really unique time in television when it started to experiment a little. Right around when the Fox network came around and it started, testing its boundaries for the first time ever. And we got some really interesting TV in the late 80s and early 90s. What was it? Key West, which was supposed to be kind of like Northern Exposure. I love that show. There was a lot of quirky shit came out in the late 80s and early 90s. That was a lot of fun.
I mean, and I know that's where it was going with this, but again, like I said, it's just the hook. That's what they needed.
Yeah. And it needs, if it gets a little more fun, and it looks like it's going to, it looks like that's where it's headed. That's where it will, I think, will win people over. They needed to do this first episode. I understand it. They needed to they needed the impact of like, oh, this is sad. It's like, he's not just a loser. I mean, he was always like this. Okay. He was a surfer and stuff, but like, we want him to be a lovable loser. And he got a kick in the teeth a couple times by life. And his pops isn't around, and the whole thing of losing your dad when you're semi young, it's tough. It's tough. So I'll probably end up watching. I don't know if we're going to cover it every week. We'll have to see again how this video does. That's really depends on you guys. If you're interested, I'm not trying to guilt you. If you don't want to watch it, that's cool. It's all good. But we'll see. And again, for I don't know if there's a free trial. I doubt it, but the AMC little paid app that you pay for.
This is what I'm doing. You can get it for $4.99, which is, not a lot of money. Watch the 10 episodes and then cancel. That's what I'm going to do.
There you go. Okay, let's get to the chat real quick here.
And you can also watch the first episode usually tomorrow, day after it airs, for free on AMC.com.
Yeah, AMC.com does, I think, most of their shows day after they're free. Yeah. Tarka Jedi says, AA saved my father's life. It was very powerful hearing you speak up for it. Who knows what people are going through? Yeah, you never know. You never know. The silent battle people are going through right now. I mean, totally off subject. It was revealed. I was going to reveal this. I didn't have time with Doomcock. That the great Art Bell died of a drug overdose. And he had a private battle with, and this is my assumption, but he died of a mix of Vicodins and oxys and stuff like that. So he was having probably a private battle with addiction, and it got him because he was 72, and he was also mixing diazepam or something like that, and that'll kill you every time, man. So it's sad. Yeah, he had a cocktail going. I know it's rough. But yeah, that's why it's good. That's, the meetings I go to really help. Believe me. They do.
Judy says, watching you both at the same time, Gary, I feel like I'm part of the Borg collective with multiple voices speaking all at once, talking about us and Doomcock.
Resistance is futile.
Yes, you would be assimilated. Mako says, I have no idea what this show is, but if you say it's good, I'll watch it.
I can't say it's good.
Yeah,
I
I have to see a second, maybe even a third
Yeah,
episode.
it's too early to tell. I don't want it. It's not bad. It's definitely
Yeah.
not bad. I need to take it. I have to do the 4-episode thing on this one and let you guys know. Susan though, have you seen future episodes?
As of yet, I have not, but I will say I'm starting to watch them. And
Okay.
what I've seen, thus far, is encouraging. I think we're going to get into a little hijinks because of conspiracies. We'll just put it that way.
Awesome.
Well,
see, yeah, that's cool.
Actually, Mary Ashmead has a good theory here. She says, I thought it looks like he's going to turn into a great show. I think his dad was a member, and that was his dad's ring he found.
That's what I kind of thought was going on too. I kind of thought that like the way they told it in the trailer is they were expecting him, not the carpet cleaner. Like, we've been waiting for you. And like, I kind of thought and I was cool with that. I was cool with like the whole, like, this is a weird secret lodge that a bunch of strange shit happens in that nobody knows about. And it's kind of supernatural and that'd be fun. But I think it's going to be more grounded than that. And I was like, I was kind of bummed out about that, you know? Because you can do quirky and grounded. Like I said, I'm a big fan of that. But nowadays, and you know, these are times that are gone, Susan, unfortunately, because I agree with you. I like well, I'm not the biggest fan of dramas. I like quirky shows that are funny, that have some elements of drama. That's fine. And not everything has to be supernatural, but kind of everything needs to be supernatural.
Doesn't have to be aliens, but it has
But
to be
it's
alien. Yeah. Mary Ashmead also says, especially at the end, looking in the mirror, when he was talking about the mirror laying on the grass, you know, and that he was looking up at the sky or looking down at the sky.
Yeah, that was cool. That was good. Yeah. I mean, who hasn't felt like that as a kid at some point?
Yeah.
And there definitely is some mystical elements, because when he went to the door to the throne room and he was like, I've been here before. And then you see what he sees in his head. I'm like, I think you are going to get some supernatural elements in this. Now, it's not going to be like Doctor Strange or anything like that, but I think there's going to be some mystical elements to it, because you can sort of see that with Blaze, you know, and he's kind of like that gauge. So yeah, I think I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. It's like a journey.
I think it's going to be some repressed memories, because again, I'm starting to agree with Mary Ashmead that his father was a member, and that's the reason why he remembers what the throne room is, because he's been there before and he's just repressed all of this stuff.
And maybe that's why he got punched.
Yep. Could be. Could very well be. And
wow, Mako, is that true? The rumor is that Picard will be in the STD timeline, and everything that's not Jar Jar Star Trek will be non-canon. Is that part of what you sent me, Dennis? Sorry to interrupt the flow there, but that's true, Mako. I gotta make another goddamn video. Is that what Doomcock is saying? I'll watch his video later. That's news.
That's kind of weird.
Well, if you watch the Midnight's Edge video, they can only do 75% Star Trek. It's got to be 25% different for rights reasons. Yeah.
So, but it's a 100%.
That's another video. Sorry, I brought it up. Yeah, we'll stick with the show.
Gary Bad Bunny says Gary is rubbing off on Dennis. Is that another doll in the background? Nope, that's just Voltron. He's still sitting there. He's just made up now at this point.
I'm rubbing on Dennis. No, I'm not there with him right now.
Not anymore. It's because he's home, thankfully.
Am I sure my name is not Sukalos? Yeah.
99 Feisty.
Yeah, go to bed, Feisty. Night. Sleep tight.
And Tarka Jedi says 2:55 p.m. here in the back office, letting the computer crunch numbers. He's Tarka Jedi's in the future.
You're crunching go 42, 37, 59, 64, 50. Jada, when people do that. No, when you're trying to remember something, somebody's trying to count, you're all 54, 34, 5. Hate it when fuckers do that.
5,205.
5.
Charka Jedi says on Thursday I'm playing a Russian master. I am prepping a crazy chess opening. Is this show worth downloading?
You probably don't need to download it. If you can access AMC.com, you can watch it for free.
Yeah, I'd watch the first episode and then make your decision from there, Tarka.
Yeah. I would not pay money right now.
Yeah,
No.
I'm not sold on it enough to pay money for it.
Yeah.
But then again, I rarely am on some stuff, so I'm not the best judge about paid money on this kind of stuff. If it's part of a package that I'm already paying for, sure. All right.
I'm freewheel with it now, but that's because of the channel. Yeah, for me, I if I wasn't doing recaps, I wouldn't even have considered it. But that, I mean, like, I didn't watch a lot of TV before this. I watched some, I did not watch as much TV as God. I felt like I was watching TV all day today. That's why I was kind of quiet on social media. I was like, poof, I was catching up on stuff, and
well, part of the
Venture
reason
Brothers.
why I have this, with the $4.99 that I'll cancel is because I want to do a review of it.
Yeah.
So,
That's
why.
You can write that off as expenses. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be able to do that pretty soon.
And Rough Girl says I'll wait until the season is over and binge. There
you go. I'd kind of recommend that. Well, the season's over. You can, if you don't want to pay the $4.99, you got to wait for the season to be over. All right, we'll do a couple more chats and we'll cut it out so everybody can go watch Doomcock.
Yeah, I'm kind of skimming through here. There's a lot of talk about AA, and I was just kind of going through that. Great stuff, but I wanted to talk more about the episode a little bit more. Okay. Nope. And then they're talking about Star Trek now. So,
well, I don't know if anybody actually watched the episode, so
I don't think anyone did.
Blame them. Yeah, it will be really interesting to see what the ratings are. By the way, I checked out Better Call Saul's ratings. Now, those are good ratings. My God. Yeah, those are like 4 million people are watching that. That's pretty damn good.
Well, that's because it's got, the pedigree behind it, Breaking Bad, and plus everybody loves that character.
Yep. And Vince Gilligan.
Oh, yeah.
A fucking genius. So yeah, that guy's amazing.
Philip Bay Demick says, I never heard of the show until tonight. I liked it. It reminds me of a lot of stories I've heard in meetings. I hope the show goes somewhere. I can see that the lodge is struggling incognito.
Yeah, it is. Vince Gilligan, I was just checking. He didn't work on any of the last two X-Files, did he?
No.
That's probably what was wrong.
Yeah. And the other thing I kind of want to say about the show too, what I found interesting was that Dud was talking about I've lived in this town all my life, and I've never seen this place. And Blaze says, oh, this place is usually some place you don't find until you really need to.
Very deep.
Yeah.
Or he could have just been a stoner and not paying attention. I don't know. I'm trying to think of any place I don't know in Encinitas that hasn't been built that's new. I know. Even in my but you do a lot of walking around town. So yeah, there is some elements to it. They probably should have put more in the premiere. I don't know. But yeah. Out to lunch on this show.
Yeah, it's 50-50 for me on that. And like I said, I just need to see a couple more episodes. I would say at least 2 more episodes before I could make a decision of yay or nay for me. But and Rough Girl says, I like the idea of a lodge that just appears. Yeah, that'd be kind of awesome, having the lodge just appear.
Yeah.
See, that would be cool.
So we're pretty much at the end of the comments there. And
I'm just puzzled as to why AMC didn't promote this better. But they have a history of doing stuff like that, especially for their shows on IFC that they don't promote as much. So I don't know. And come to think of it, was there a lot of promotion? Not that it needs it, for Better Call Saul.
The promotion?
Oh, there's plenty. Yeah, there's tons of promotion for Better Call Saul.
It was all over the place, man. All over the place.
And it was at Comic-Con as well.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, they had a Breaking Bad reunion, and that preceded a Better Call Saul panel.
Yeah.
That was packed, absolutely packed.
Hall H.
Yeah, and they packed Hall H. So I mean, wasn't there some rumor right when Breaking Bad ended that, and this is probably what led into Better Call Saul, but there was a rumor that they were possibly considering bringing the series back for another season.
Yeah.
Actually, they mentioned it at the very end of the of that panel, the reunion panel. It was that Walter White was coming back. He wasn't dead.
Yeah, so I mean, I could definitely see that happen. We're getting the story better further. They do like a little flash forwards, as you call them. They're all black and white, and they kind of show you where Saul is now. And that story is very slowly, like it's like I think 4 or 5 scenes over the last 4 seasons. And something finally happened. This, if you watch the recap in the opening episode, something looks like it happened anyway. But it's interesting how they do it. It's really good. God, it's a good show, man. Good show. By the way, thank you, Jody. That is why you have the wrench, my friend.
Yes.
I appreciate that. All right. So start thinking our wonderful chat, and I will get our patron going.
All right. So thank you, Mary Ashmead, Rough Girl, Jody, the ever wonderful Jody, Slurmy Scott, Mako, excuse me, Philip A. Demick, Jimmy Doolittle. Who else do we have in here? Bad Bunny, I already talked about. Tarka Jedi, Feisty Fan, of course, and Daniel Nolan. There we go. I just want to make sure I said your name right. And I know we had a few more people that had to bow out early here, so I'm going up a bit.
Hey, we got up to 20 viewers. This is like the least viewed video we've had live in a long time. So that tells you how much interest there was in the show.
Naruto Sasuke. And I believe that's all I can scroll up to.
But who knows? Don't get discouraged, anybody, or even Susan. The Bob Cathgoldthwaite video for us got like 2,000 views, and I was like, what? I didn't think that many people watched the show, but then there was a good crowd at Comic-Con. It was a pretty decent panel. I
love the show.
I think the show's good. I'm hit and miss on Bobcat. I don't particularly love him that much, but
he's doing some good stuff with that show. I watch it every Wednesday, and it's just a lot of fun. It's for those people that are missing. Now, it's not the same type as Ash versus Evil Dead, but for those people that are missing horror comedy, I highly recommend Misfits and Monsters.
Yeah, it was just that first episode that wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I don't know why they picked that one, but I heard the episodes. Dennis, did you keep watching it?
I haven't. I actually kind of forgot where it was at, and I had other stuff that was going on, so I
heard the following episodes were better. But yeah.
So and I don't think they have an app that you can watch it on. So I think I'd have to go through DirecTV Now's.
DirecTV Now is what I watch it on. So
yeah, right, so I think they should have it on there.
Yeah, if you watch this as a video and you checked out Lodge 49 and you liked it, tell us what you think, or you didn't like it, tell us what you think. I'd like to hear that. Did anybody see this show, and will you continue to watch it, and do you want us to cover it? That's the most important. So thank you again. Best chat on YouTube. I will be back tomorrow at Man of Action. What's up? Doomcock just ended. Yeah, we're just ending too. But I'll be back tomorrow night late covering Castle Rock, episode 5. And I kind of like the show. So yeah, it's okay. We'll see where it goes. And then Wednesday, Patreon only live stream. Then we got some other stuff. There's no Cloak and Dagger Thursday. So Friday night, yeah, Susan and Dennis will be back Friday night for Friday night.
Yes.
We got all kinds of stuff coming up. So please pay attention to nerdrotic.com. Susan, plug your wares.
You can read me at 1428 Elm. You can find me on Twitter at Susan on the Ledge, at Instagram at Convergin. Next week, starting Monday, I will be at Heroic Hollywood as well. So stay tuned.
All right. So and Man of Action says the rumor is true about Star Trek. I'm going to have to be up late tonight. Well, it's still early for me. So, Dennis, we know where your wares are. They're in your drawer. Your underwears.
Hey, I just want to say we're 3 away from 300 people, subscribers on our Facebook page. So we're close. You know, that's actually gonna be kind of cool. So if you haven't come to the Facebook page, come on in, subscribe. Also, we have a Nerdrotic podcast group where you can talk to everybody in there too. You subscribe to that as well. Come join us, talk. And if you still, are on Facebook, I know a lot of people aren't. Other than that, you can find us on nerdrotic.com, and you can also find us here on YouTube, of course.
There you go. Doomcock is pissed. I can imagine. All right. So I might be back with another video. Who knows? You two, you go to bed. And everybody, Dennis, take us out.
Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
Say goodnight, Susan.
Night, everybody.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Ciao.